Hello, I'm Avis Kalfsbeck, and this is the Peace is Here podcast. Welcome to Peacewarts, School of Peacecraft and Inquiry, where we practice the skills of peace through short classes. We take the peace work seriously, but not ourselves. If you're joining us mid-school year, you're not late. Orientation begins at episode 198. Welcome back, Peace Scholars. This is Chronicled Courage 101 in the Hall of Records, where we keep our eyes on the evidence. Notice the clock in the corner. We focus on the tick, the moments of action, the loud strikes of the hour, but the clock spends 99% of its time in the silence between the ticks. In history, we are taught to focus on the strikes, the declarations of war, the explosions, the falls of empires. We are told these strikes are the only natural part of the machine. But today we look at the silence. We look at the vast stretches of time where the strike didn't happen, and we ask why. As the cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead famously argued, war is only an invention, not a biological necessity. It is an invention like any other of the inventions in terms of which we order our lives. The concept, reclaiming the silence. Our lesson today is about reclaiming the peace years that textbooks usually skip as if they were empty space. If we deconstruct the myth that war is inevitable, we find that peace is not a vacuum or a lucky break. It is a deliberate, high-maintenance labor. The history. The capacity for restraint. The 100 Years' Peace, 1815 to 1914. The most common lie in history is that humanity is a continuous chain of violence. But look at Western Europe after the Napoleonic Wars. Between the Congress of Vienna in 1815 and the outbreak of World War I in 1914, there was no general continent-wide interstate war for nearly a century. During this long peace, the frequency of interstate wars dropped by over 60% compared to the previous century. This required the development of the Concert of Europe, a system of Congress diplomacy. Between 1815 and 1875 alone, European powers held over 30 major international conferences specifically to settle disputes before they reached the battlefield. They turned war from a first resort into a logistical anomaly. The Cancelled War, the Aaland Islands 1921. We are taught that once a territorial dispute starts, war is the realistic conclusion. But consider the Aaland Islands Dispute of 1921 between Sweden and Finland. Both nations claimed the islands, both had mobilized nationalistic fervor. Instead of a descent into combat, they took the case to the newly formed League of Nations. The solution was radical. Finland kept the islands, but the islands were demilitarized and given total cultural autonomy. The outcome has been stable for over a century. This was a war that was scheduled by geopolitics, but canceled by human choice. The evidence of the ancestors. We are often told that humans have been at war since we lived in caves. This Hobbesian view suggests that violence is our hardwired factory setting. However, modern archaeology tells a different story. In a comprehensive survey of over 3,000 prehistoric burial sites across Europe and the Near East, researchers found that clear evidence of lethal interpersonal violence was present in less than 2% of remains. For the vast majority of our history, human nature was defined by the labor of foraging, group child-rearing, and the long-distance trade of obsidian and shells. The thesis: capacity, not destiny. The purpose of the inevitability myth is political. If war is a biological destiny, then the military-industrial complex is just a necessary response to nature. If we believe we are violent by design, we stop looking for the architects who profit from the blueprints of conflict. History actually shows capacity, not destiny. The same species that invents the bayonet invents the treaty. What is repeated across the centuries is not violence, but choice under pressure. Your homework. 1. Look up the Aaland Islands Dispute of 1921, that's Aaland, or the Concert of Europe, and find one diplomatic tool they used to prevent a fight. 2. Write down one question about any of this episode's topics. If you don't have a question, just write no question. 3. Optional, journal. Think about your own natural reactions to conflict. When have you felt hardwired to argue, but chose to pause instead? Was that pause passive, or was it an act of labor? The ink of the future. In the Department of Chronicled Courage, we believe that peace is the default state of a healthy system. It is war that requires the massive artificial infrastructure of propaganda and industry to keep it running. When we hear the claim that conflict is simply human nature, the evidence suggests otherwise. We need only look at the clock. While the world focuses on the loud tick of the hour, the clock spends 99% of its existence in the silence between those movements. The same ratio holds true for our shared history. For every year of recorded war, there are decades of humans choosing to trade, to marry, and to build together in the quiet. Peace is not an anomaly. It is the enduring foundation that allows the clock to keep time in the first place. Until our next lesson, keep your eyes on the evidence. Class dismissed. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to support the Pieces Here podcast, the most helpful way is to follow it wherever you're listening. It helps share the message with others. You can also support this piecework at my Patreon for $4 a month, about what a used paperback goes for these days. Just go to Patreon at patreon.com/Avis Kalfsbeck. That's AVISKALFSBEEK. My most recent book is Mana Mutante, a best friend eco-fiction novella about food systems, featuring Tilly, Camas, Pedro, and the rest of the gang. It's book 6 in the Pedro the Water Dog Saves the Planet series and is available wherever you buy books. You can find all of my peace projects and stay in touch at aviskalfsbeck.com. Music is by Javier Peque Rodriguez. Sound effects are from Pixabay. Regarding peace, we need not delay or despair. We are not late. We are right on time to love. We are all scholars of peace. Listen for the peace.